going to do a quick short example to illustrate a for statement that will execute a given number of times. So we're learning a little bit about the loop to begin with, and the for is a great example of a counter loop. So when we look at the syntax in our textbook, we're seeing that a for loop is going to have the keyword for, variable, in range, and how many times you want that loop to process. So we have to keep syntax in mind here when we actually set this loop up, because there are some things that have to be included, and we're going to go over that. So the first thing that you have to do is type the keyword for. Now the variable. In your textbook throughout the chapter, you're going to see that variable be demonstrated a lot of different ways. But keep in mind, it's just a variable. You can call it whatever you want. I like to use the word count as my variable. Anytime that I'm dealing with a counter, meaning I'm trying to keep track of how many times that loop is repeated, I like to use the word count. Sometimes I'll use the word counter. It's completely up to you. You even see in the textbook that they use the word each pass. Again, it's just a variable. We can actually call it anything we want. So I'm saying for count in range, okay? So the word for is a keyword. The word in is a keyword, okay? Here we are, for and in. Count is my variable. Range is actually required because we're telling it how many times we want this loop to repeat. So let's say we want to repeat a message 5 times. So I would put the word or the number 5 in parentheses. That actually, I think in the syntax stands for like your integer expression. So they do expect that to be a number. And then you end that loop header with a colon. That is required. Notice that when I hit enter, it goes to the next line, and the indent is automatic for us. That's required in Python. The good news is that they do it automatically for you, so you don't have to worry about that. But that indent means that the loop body has to be indented. The loop body is what's going to happen every time this loop repeats. So we're going to set up something to take place 5 times. So let's just start with the simple print statement. We're going to say this is the loop body. And we know that when we use that print function, that the string that goes in there has to be typed in quotation marks. Okay? If I hit enter. So what I've set up here, again, this is my loop header. Okay? This is my loop body. And your loop body can be one statement. It can be several statements. Whatever you want to happen. But however many lines of code you write, that's what's going to be repeated 5 times on the screen. Let's take a moment and see how this runs in our shell. So to run my application, I'm going to go ahead and click Run Module. I already have it saved on my computer, so I'm just going to click OK to update it. And when I run it in the shell, you can see that that one line of code that I had was repeated 5 different times. So it's going to print, or the loop body is going to be exactly what you set it up to be. Let's go back for a minute. I'm going to minimize that. Let's add something else to the loop body. Let's say this is the second line. Just so you can see that it's going to print the entire loop body 5 times. Okay? And we're going to run this module again. Update my save. And notice how it prints that loop body 5 times. Okay? Here is pass 1. Here is pass 2, pass 3, and pass 4, and 5.